like to just extend a thank you for that. And as usual, a very warm welcome to Dan Hammer over in Chicago, who's going to host this call this evening for us. So, Dan, the field's all yours.
Thank you, Campbell. I appreciate everyone plugging in. It's beauty of the internet is that I'm here in the United States, just outside of Chicago, and you're over in England and Scotland, and I think I've got the two countries covered that we have people on, and it's just nice to be able to do this. And one of the things that Campbell talked about was that we're launching these elite wellness centers, and the whole process of the elite wellness centers is to be able to help people who are in the healthcare profession as well as in the athletic performance industry to be able to have two programs that they can bring into their operation that is congruent with their overall mission and business plan, yet be able to bring two profit centers in to help them gain clients and increase profits. And last week we talked about utilizing nitric oxide therapy, and we did the nitric oxide therapy webinar. Tonight we're going to be looking at the microbiome and how to naturally reset your gut health for improved wellness. And both of them are significant in terms of how we can help people improve their health, and both of them can be significant in terms of bringing in an additional revenue stream. We're not going to be talking about the revenue stream tonight, but what we want to do is we want to help you have a basic understanding of microbiome research and what it can do for improving wellness. I'm going to do the presentation as what we do live here in the United States. We do it on the first and third Tuesdays of every month at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, we also have this recorded on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is Our Synergy Family, so you can see by the opening slide where you see live webinar brought to you by Our Synergy Family. If you go to YouTube and you type in the search bar Our Synergy Family, you should be able to come up to our YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe. That way, anytime that we post anything new that's up there, you'll be able to get notification of it, and you can always go onto there, utilize any of the information that we've created. So with that said, this is a live webinar that we do, and I'm just going to go ahead and do the webinar for you. I've updated a couple things here, and we'll have time for questions at the end of the webinar, but certainly as we go through the webinar, if you have any questions that come up that need immediate attention, just go ahead. I don't have anyone muted at this point in time. If I get a lot of background noise, then I'll go in and mute everyone. Thank you for attending our live microbiome research webinar. The goal of our presentation is to inform you and empower you to apply natural ways to reset your gut health. Why? Because when you learn how to reset your gut health, you will feel better, you're going to look better, and people around you are going to notice and ask you what you're doing. That's how significant this can be. For example, if you apply the information we're going to share with you, then you can expect to experience what others have experienced. For example, Homer Wimbley states, "I'm starting my 5th day and I'm down a total of 5 pounds. I'm feeling wonderful and my blood sugars are normal." Now, that was taken from Homer maybe about a total of about 2 months ago. Here's an update for Homer. I talked to Homer last week when I did this presentation, and Homer has now lost 26 pounds. He's lost 6 inches in his waistline. He's a diabetic. He's been a diabetic for over 20 years. He's on 3 medications, and even on those 3 medications, before starting the microbiome reset, his blood sugars in the morning, he always ran between 150 and 175. Now, he's still on 3 medications, but after the 2nd day on the Purify program and beginning the process of resetting his microbiome, his blood sugar numbers dropped to morning numbers of 75 to 90, where they should be, normal range. So he's ecstatic about what's happened to him. It's absolutely amazing how he feels. Another person is Tammy Hester. So when Tammy first started this program, she'd lost 5 pounds, 4 3/4 inches during her first week on this program in resetting her gut health, and she's becoming healthier, looking a whole lot better. So here's Tammy's update. Now, Tammy's been through the Purify program, which she did as a 7-day program. She's now into 4 weeks on what we call the Fortify program, basically taking what she learned in the Purify program and continuing to build on that. So to date, she's lost 17 pounds. In fact, I have a better update, but this is what she shared with me last week. She's lost 17 pounds. She's lost a total of 9¼ inches, but not just the weight loss and the inches lost. For the first time, she's actually learning how to eat to nourish her body. And it's made a huge difference for her in terms of the food choices that she's making and be able to understand why she's choosing foods that are going to absolutely help nourish her body and give her body the kind of environment that it needs to be able to experience the level of wellness that she's beginning to experience. Now, in reading these quotes, in working with others to reset their gut health, I see and hear several common trends. Improved energy, an improved sense of well-being, and for many, weight loss and lost inches. So let's start our discussion by helping you understand what this is and why your microbiome is key to good health. According to Merriam-Webster, your microbiome is, quote, a community of microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and viruses that inhabit a particular environment, and especially the collection of microorganisms living in and on the human body. Your body is home to about 100 trillion bacteria and other microbes, collectively known as the microbiome. End of. So whether you believe in evolution or creation, there is a symbiotic relationship between microbial and human cells, a symbiotic relationship that either leads to good health or poor health. In fact, when you look in the mirror, what you see is your human expression of your cells. However, if you had the eyes of a powerful microscope, you would see a world of microbial cells that outnumber your human cells by a factor of 10. This has led researchers in the area of the microbiome to use the phrase, you are only 10% human. This means that 10% of your cells contain human DNA. The remaining 90% of your cells are some combination of bacteria, fungi, and microflora. On and in your body are 4 major microbial communities: oral, skin, vaginal, and fecal abdominal. And when added together, this represents 100 trillion microscopic organisms. To help you better understand this, let's talk about genes, which are the building blocks of life. Genes carry the genetic instructions that shape and form every living thing. There are 22,000 genes in the entire human genome. There are 3.3 million genes just in the human gut microbiome. Why is this important? The makeup of your microbiome significantly, if not entirely, impacts your health and wellness to the point where every major disease and illness today has a link back to your microbiome, even to your body composition of being lean or fat. People used to blame their human genes for being overweight, and because of this, they felt powerless to change their physical appearance. But science in the area of the microbiome clearly shows that this plays a far greater role in determining whether you are lean or fat. The most famous study in this area is the one done on identical human twins. Each set of twins have the same genetic makeup. However, one twin was overweight, the other twin was lean. Their human microbiome was injected into the gut flora of host mice, so that the microbiome of the mice took on the nature of the human twin. Each recipient mice was given the same diet, same daily activities, and the results were that the host mice from the microbiome of the lean twin stayed lean, and the host mice with the microbiome from the overweight twin gained weight and stored fat. And what was even more interesting was the makeup of the microbial communities between the two twins. For the overweight twin, the microbial community was dominated by Firmicutes, whereas the microbial community of the lean twin was dominated by Bacteroidetes. Most studies now show that the higher your Bacteroidetes compared to your Firmicutes, the leaner you will be. And there are a couple of key triggers to be aware of. The first trigger is high intake of omega-6 fatty acids from vegetable oils. Most processed foods use some form of vegetable oil for shelf stability. The problem is these types of omega-6 oils trigger inflammation, which favors Firmicutes. Trigger number 2 is animal protein, which creates less diversity in the microbial community, which then allows the Firmicutes to dominate. Trigger 3 is sugar and processed carbohydrates like wheat. They're fuel for Firmicutes, which again allows them to dominate your abdominal microbiome. And the last trigger is stress, which releases adrenal hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which lower the bacteroidetes in your abdominal cavity. When you add this all together, vegetable oils, processed food, animal protein, sugar, processed carbohydrates, and stress all favor the growth and dominance of Firmicutes, which then leads to a whole host of abdominal, weight management, and metabolic concerns. However, if you change the gut, you can change the outcome. To help you understand how to change your outcome, we want to give you a roadmap for restoring your gut health so that you can live a vibrant life. We call it the 3 E's and the 4 R's for gut health. And it all starts with the 3 E's. Eliminate dysbiosis, eliminate leaky gut, eliminate inflammation. If you address these 3 E's properly, then you'll experience a tremendous shift in your overall health. The first one is eliminate dysbiosis. What this means is that your delicate microbial communities have become disrupted and imbalanced, which can lead to poor health. And one of the major causes of dysbiosis is the use of antibiotics and pharmaceutical drugs. As the National Institute of Health points out in their article, Antibiotics and the Human Gut Microbiome, Dysbiosis and Accumulation of Resistances, the human microbiome has been overly exposed to antibiotics from both medical community and food industry. This overexposure has caused both short-term and long-term consequences, especially as it impacts your immune system, resulting in inflammation and autoimmune diseases, metabolic pathways, resulting in metabolic disorders and obesity issues, resistance to harmful pathogens, resulting in increased potential for illness, resistance in bacterial infections, resulting in abdominal distress. Now, the alternative is to learn how to recolonize your gut flora through the use of natural nutrients, prebiotics, and probiotics, as well as choosing foods that support good bacteria instead of supporting bad bacteria. What we like to call the 4 R's, which we'll discuss shortly. When you properly apply this, the results are amazing. Here's a short list. Supports cellular integrity and function of the intestinal lining to reduce leaky gut and the potential for toxins to enter the bloodstream. Aids in gut metabolism and microbiome balance for improved energy. Activates detoxification signaling to help rid your body of toxins that cause inflammation. Supports the elimination of heavy metals and how they can compromise your health. Supports the digestive system to reduce abdominal distress. Provides sustained energy and prolonged nutrient absorption to eliminate hunger and cravings. This list of benefits is just the opposite of the health concerns highlighted by the National Institute of Health. And it all centers on how your microbiome reduces and controls the production of toxins and the resulting inflammation. As bad bacteria overwhelm good bacteria, the result is an overproduction of toxins, which initiates the following sequence. Toxins enter your bloodstream either by attaching themselves to fat molecules or entering due to a leaky gut. Toxins then create inflammation throughout the body. Inflammation leads to metabolic dysfunction. Metabolic dysfunction leads to insulin resistance. That leads to fat deposition. That causes cardiopulmonary metabolic dysfunction. The key to solving the toxin issue is to recolonize your gut microbiome with those microbial communities that support good health. This means if you fix the gut, then you fix the problem. And the one big problem for most people is having a leaky gut. Ideally, your intestine is designed to be very selective in what it allows it to enter. So whatever you consume, it's got to go through this selective barrier, and it does this by creating what are known as tight junctions. As you can see in the image created by Dr. Vincent Pedre for Happy Gut, these tight junctions are loosened so that undigested food particles, toxins, and pathogens can enter your bloodstream. The result is an immediate activation of your immune system, causing inflammation and food sensitivities. While not everyone has this, we created a checklist in our Microbiome ebook that will help you understand your increased probability for this issue. At the end of our presentation, we'll share with you how you can obtain a free copy of this ebook. In it are 2 columns, triggers and symptoms. Let's just look at the symptoms. The more you check off, the more likely you're to have some level of leaky gut. So do you have any bloating issues, food allergies, food sensitivities, headaches, joint pain, low energy and or fatigue, thyroid conditions, digestive issues, weight gain, mood issues, skin issues? The greater the dysbiosis of your abdominal cavity, the greater your potential for a leaky gut. So how do you correct these 3 E's, which again are eliminate dysbiosis, eliminate inflammation, and eliminate leaky gut? Well, you do it by applying the 4 R's for gut health, which are remove foods and factors that damage your gut, replace with healing foods, repair with specific supplements, rebalance with prebiotics and probiotics. Let's start with the first R, which is remove foods and factors that damage your gut. As I say, you are what you eat, and if you make choices that damage your microbiome, you will suffer the consequences. Now, we want to acknowledge that change is difficult, but understand this. When you change your microbiome to a healthier environment, you will find it much easier to make good food choices. Why? Because your microbiome is driving your food choices. Again, fix the gut and you fix the problem. In our microbiome ebook, we go into greater detail, but here's a short list on some foods and factors that damage your gut microbiome and how your implementation will directly affect the 3 E's. Now you can see the first one is eliminate all wheat products from your diet. This will immediately help you eliminate inflammation and dysbiosis. If you reduce your sugar consumption, this will address inflammation and dysbiosis and reduce toxins that can contribute to leaky gut. If you dramatically reduce your intake of vegetable oils, this is going to address inflammation and leaky gut. If you limit your consumption of animal protein, it's going to address dysbiosis. If you limit your alcohol consumption, it will address dysbiosis. Only use an antibiotic when necessary. This will help address dysbiosis. Only take medications when necessary. Again, this will help eliminate dysbiosis and reduce stress. This will address all of the 3 E's as it lowers inflammation, removes the potential for dysbiosis, and helps to prevent leaky gut. So if you remove foods, the next step is to actually replace them with healing foods. So as you remove those foods that are harmful to your microbiome, you want to replace them with foods that will quickly recolonize your microbiome with healthy and beneficial bacteria. So here's some suggestions. Increase your water. Easiest way to do that is add liquid chlorophyll. 1 tablespoon of liquid chlorophyll per 16 ounces of water. This will help address inflammation. Replace milk with unsweetened almond milk. This will address dysbiosis and inflammation, and for most people, almond milk is a pretty easy change. Increase your consumption of vegetable protein. This will address dysbiosis and inflammation as well as help heal a leaky gut. Now, one of our favorite sources of vegetable protein is pea protein powder. especially if you make any type of healthy shake or smoothie. The most common protein powder is whey protein from cow's milk. However, pea protein is equal to whey, but without any allergens. Here's a direct side-by-side comparison. So you can see calories are about the same, carbs are the same, protein's the same, fat's just slightly higher in pea protein. But it's important to note that pea protein contains 3 times more L-arginine than whey protein. This is significant because L-arginine fuels 7 different metabolic pathways that are important for good health. Next thing you can do is switch to omega-3 fats. Substitute your omega-6 fats like vegetable oils with extra virgin olive oil or coconut oil. Avocados are also an excellent source of omega-3 fats. This will address inflammation and help heal a leaky gut. Add fermented foods. This addresses dysbiosis as well as reduces inflammation. So Greek yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, pickles, they're all good food choices. Add flaxseed powder. That will address inflammation and dysbiosis. You can easily add it to your food and health shakes. Consume more vegetables. Whole and unprocessed vegetables help address dysbiosis and inflammation. So eat more spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, peas, and raw carrots. However, stay away from corn because of its sugar content. The next step is a repair with specific supplements. Now, there are so many supplements in the market that it's easy to get lost in this area. We're going to give you just 4, but they are the 4 most important ones to consume to help you address the 3 E's. Starts with L-glutamine. This is always the first and most important one to add to your diet. It will address inflammation, leaky gut, and dysbiosis. Also, L-glutamine improves the ratio of good bacteria, the Bacteroidetes, to the bad bacteria, Firmicutes, to aid in weight management. Magnesium. This mineral addresses inflammation, leaky gut, and dysbiosis. It's required for the function of hundreds of enzymes in the gut to improve digestion, regularity, and energy production. Zinc. This mineral addresses dysbiosis by helping to fuel the enzymatic processes that help recolonize your gut microbiome with healthy, beneficial bacteria. It's involved in over 300 different enzymatic pathways to help support optimal health. Borage oil. This nutrient addresses inflammation. Inflammation is such a big issue in the gut that you want to arm your microbiome with the nutrients it needs to address this issue. Now, the last of the 4 R's is to rebalance with what are called prebiotics and probiotics. We recommend combining these 2 together to optimize the recolonization of your gut microbiome. So let's start with probiotics, which are the good bacteria you need to recolonize your abdominal cavity. And when it comes to probiotic supplements, there's always this debate about live cultures that you have to refrigerate versus shelf-stable cultures. Regardless of which one you choose, they all must pass through your stomach, which presents a problem. Due to the high acidic nature of the stomach, many of the probiotics don't survive the journey to the small intestine. This is one reason why you have to take such a large number of active cultures, say 50 billion CFU, which is colony-forming units. However, by taking your probiotic with food or dark chocolate, you increase the number of CFUs that actually make it into the small intestine. And the reason why is sugar helps coat them to provide protection from the acids of the stomach. But sugars also feed the bad bacteria that you're trying to get rid of, which brings us to prebiotics. Prebiotics are non-digestible carbohydrates to you, but can be digested by your probiotic. They are usually soluble fibers, which aid you in your digestion, and when combined with water, they form a gel-like substance that can withstand the acidic environment of the stomach. And when they enter the small intestine, they become a meal for the bacteria you're trying to grow. This means you want prebiotics that will nourish the good bacteria, not the bad bacteria. And if you properly combine a prebiotic with the correct probiotic, you can create a positive synergistic effect. The probiotic will form a gel-like coating to protect the probiotic through the stomach acids. This helps more CFUs make it into the small intestine. Once in the small intestine, the prebiotic becomes a healthy food source for your probiotic. This speeds the colonization of your gut microbiome with good bacteria while denying your bad bacteria the food they need. This also helps to quickly reset your gut health so that you can enjoy improved wellness. So which are the best ingredients for doing this? Well, we would recommend two. The first one is inulin. It's an excellent prebiotic. It's always our first choice. In addition to nourishing the good bacteria, it also assists with digestion and absorption of your food. Inulin plays a significant role in your immune system, and it seems to improve heart and bone health, reduce the potential for colon cancer, helps protect against inflammatory bowel disease, and aids in preventing constipation. For a probiotic, we recommend Bacillus coagulans. We know that there are others in this category, but if you want to rapidly recolonize your gut microbiome, this is the one to use. This is a spore-forming probiotic species that can withstand the stomach's acidic environment so that when it enters the intestinal area, it can colonize faster. And Bacillus coagulans has been shown to help reduce irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease, and inflammation. Now, we've covered a lot of information, and in our free ebook, we also examine how the microbiome addresses health issues like autoimmune diseases, abdominal distress, inflammation and cancer, diabetes, and weight management issues. And before we open up this live presentation to your questions and comments, I'd like to highlight Dr. Alessio Fasano, a world-renowned gastroenterologist who views the autoimmune disease as a three-legged stool. And the reason why I want to highlight this is that it can be used for all types of diseases affected by the microbiome. The first leg is genetic predisposition, meaning that certain genes, when triggered, will develop certain types of diseases. The second leg is a trigger that your immune system sees as a threat, whether it's real or not, to send it into action. So a good example is how gluten in some people is a trigger for celiac disease, but not in others. And then leg 3 is intestinal permeability, which we've already identified as having a leaky gut. This allows large compounds like proteins to enter the bloodstream where they don't belong, and your immune system immediately targets them because of their location. By using this three-legged stool concept, you can naturally address all types of diseases. So the first step is to consume ingredients that will help address and heal a leaky gut. Tonight's presentation, we've identified several, like L-glutamine, pea protein, magnesium, flaxseed powder, and borage oil. The second step is to combine your prebiotic with probiotics to quickly reset your microbiome so that the good bacteria can overcolonize the bad bacteria. That allows your microbiome to reduce the number of potential triggers, which then reduces the potential to trigger genetic predispositions. Excuse me 1 second here. And while this is not a guarantee to eliminate all diseases, it's a viable option to improve your overall health and reduce your risk. And as you can see, there's a quote there from the University of Washington. It says, autoimmune diseases appear to be passed on in families not by DNA inheritance, but by inheriting the family's microbiome. Now, as we close out our presentation, I want you to know that we are part of what's called the Million Lives Project. Our goal is to help 1 million people or more understand how they can effectively reset their microbiome to significantly improve their gut health while reducing their risk for all types of lifestyle diseases. And we also want to give people hope in their constant battle to manage their weight. For the first time, we can help people understand that it's not their lack of willpower or their poor genes, but rather it's their microbiome that affects the outcome. If you fix the gut, you again fix the problem. To help us accomplish this, in our goal to reach 1 million people or more, we would ask you to do one of two things. First, share the live webinar with others. We host this, and again, this is what I would say to our American audience. We host this on the first and third Tuesdays of every month at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. And the person who invited you to attend tonight's program can provide you with the information. So if you as a group over in Europe decide that you want to do some type of live presentation, I'll certainly make these script as well as these slides available to you. We also have this recorded, and I'll talk about that in just a second. The other thing is that you can get a free copy of our microbiome research ebook. Just contact the person who invited you to attend the live presentation. Again, once we're done with this live presentation, I'll show you exactly where that's located. So the microbiome has and is creating a great deal of interest in the general public. With this interest has come a boatload of products, all designed to help in this area, some more effectively than others. Synergy Worldwide has their Microbiome Purify Kit. It is a patented program backed by clinical studies designed to reset your microbiome and begin that process in the first 7 days. It includes ingredients that we've highlighted tonight, and the results have been amazing for people who have used this program, these supplements, and followed their program. So before I even talk about this Microbiome Purify Kit, what I'd like to do is, Campbell, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to unmute everyone. So I've got everyone unmuted. So Campbell, you sent me an update this morning. You've been on the program, what we would call the 14-day plan. You're just planning to repeat it twice. So you're going to do it for 28 days.
Correct.
But in the 14-day program, you've been on it for 7 days so far, correct?
Correct.
Now, if I got your numbers correct from what you sent me this morning, you're down 9 pounds?
Correct.
And Campbell was kind enough to put that into English version where I could understand his measurements as opposed to stones. I wouldn't know I don't know how heavy a stone is. So for me over in the United States, when we step on a scale, we don't see stones, we see pounds. So Campbell, you're down 9 pounds.
Yep.
You've reduced your BMI by 1.4.
Yep.
You're down 3.5% in body fat.
I am.
And you've taken 2 inches off your waist.
Yep.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling a lot better than I did when I spoke to you about this on the 2nd of June, Dan, which is when I kind of said to you, I think I've got a problem with my willpower because I've tried this a couple of times. And you very kindly said, well, I'll send you our Purify guide and I want you to follow it to the letter of the law, and I'd like you to update me every day on your food diary. And I've stuck to it to the letter of the law. And a couple of the guys that are on the call, Julie in particular, I spoke to her earlier about it. There's the downside and the upside. And the upside certainly outweighs the downside. And all the downside was the usual detox problems of headaches and maybe struggling to sleep a little bit and sore legs during the first few days. But I feel great because the energy levels are coming back, and because I can feel the weight coming off now, my own confidence levels are getting back up to where they used to be. So I guess I also owe you a personal thanks for holding me to account and getting me to send in my diary every day, Dan. So thanks for that.
You're welcome. So a couple things. On the downside, you had headaches and some sore legs and any other issues beside that?
No, none at all. And I found that by increasing my water intake and including Phytolife, the liquid chlorophyll, that certainly started to help. In fact, I know it helped because I don't have the headaches or the sore legs now at all.
So the extra water that was suggested in the Purify manual, as well as combining that with, you guys call it Phytolife, and over here we call it liquid chlorophyll. It's the same thing, but liquid chlorophyll helps to detoxify the system. And so if you increase your water intake, and we usually, in the Purify manual, and I'll show that in just a little bit, but in the Purify manual, we recommend that people drink 4 ounces of water between breakfast and their evening time. Sure. And do that, and if you combine that with your liquid chlorophyll, so you could do like 16 ounces, 1 tablespoon, and 16 ounces of water that covers you for 3 hours, and do that basically either 3 or 4 times during the day, you're helping to flush toxins out of your system.
Yeah. What I had got into the habit of doing, Dan, was about 1 hour after eating, I would take my serving of water along with the 2.5 ounces, I think it was, I said, on the chlorophyll serving. So I took it about an hour after eating, and that was normally after lunch, and then again after dinner in the evening.
Okay. All right. And so you had a few days where you had some challenges, but compared to where you're at today, is it worth going through those small challenges?
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely worth it. And it was quite tough during the first couple of days, certainly after the second day. And again, I was talking to Julie early on about this, and, you know, people who are working and want to do this, I would recommend they probably start it on a Friday, and they should be through the worst of it by the time they get back to work on the Monday or Tuesday. Yeah,
that's a good suggestion. Now, from the meal plan standpoint, I didn't have that completely built out, but you have some good. You've done some good job in terms of choosing proper combinations of foods. Are you finding that it's easier to eat that way now than what it was when you first started?
Yeah, I am. And the other thing that again, Julie asked me today was if I felt hungry, and I haven't felt hungry at all. And the one thing that I remember from, you know, sort of throwing my hand out to you on the 2nd of June and saying, look, Dan, I've got no willpower. And you stopped me dead in my tracks and you said, hang on a minute, you have got willpower. And you covered it tonight. You said, those bad bacteria are screaming at you to give you what they want. They don't care how you look or how you feel. They just want what they want. And I don't feel the need or cravings for anything now that I may have been addicted to before I started this. And my goodness, I'm only in day 8. I'm in day 9 now, I think.
Yeah, I want to echo that because Homer's not on this call, but that's one of the things that Homer talked about when before he started to reset his microbiome. His blood sugars would vary up and down. And part of the reason why it would vary up and down is because he would use a candy bar as a quick fix for his blood sugar, so that when his blood sugar was low, he'd eat a candy bar. That would bring his blood sugar back into normal, but typically on a candy bar, it goes high, body reacts to it, and his blood sugar comes back down. And so what happens is he was addicted to that whole process of using sugars to manage his blood sugar levels. Now, he can't stand the taste of a candy bar. and it goes to this whole, you know, I alluded to it in the webinar, but it goes to this whole process that when you reset your gut microbiome, it makes a real significant difference in terms of the food choices. As I shared with Campbell, and I'll share with the people who are live on this presentation, your microbiome is driving your food choices. The bacteria that make up the microbiome of your abdominal cavity is causing you to choose the foods that you're choosing. And when you change that microbiome, those addictions and those cravings go away. Like for me, before I started to reset my microbiome, I didn't have any significant health issues, but I still had some abdominal distress. But my go-to choice of snack in the afternoon to get me from lunch to dinner was chips, either corn chips or potato chips. Since I've reset my microbiome, you know, I did the pre-launch in March, and I've continued that process since. I have no desire for any chip. So if you could have a bag of potato chips and corn chips sitting there, and I have absolutely no desire to eat them because my microbiome's changed. And what I prefer is like I have these little 1 ounce packs of omega-3 nuts, and I eat those instead. And that satisfied me. Or one of the things that I have in the Purify manual, and this is an ingredient that I found a long time ago that would help me, is sunflower butter. Sunflower butter, no sugar, with salt. It tastes just like peanut butter, but has no allergens to it. It's a healthy fat, and I add that to my morning shake, and that two tablespoons of sunflower butter will give you anywhere from an hour to 2 hours of extra energy and no hunger because of the components that make up that sunflower butter. It's such an easy thing to add to a person's shake or add to your diet to help you, again, satisfy the microbiome, give it the food that it wants, which then converts it into energy that your body can use, as opposed to the other microbiome, those firmicutes. What they do is they take the food, those carbohydrates and starches, and they use it for energy and then store it as fat. And so they cause you to continue to eat over and over and over, and that's why people are storing fat, because they have those firmicutes in predominance in their abdominal cavity. So this is just a fascinating area. Campbell, anything else that you would like to share in terms of your ability to begin to look at food as a way to nourish your body, as a way of looking at food towards taking care of habits, for lack of a better term?
I think already, even tonight when I came down here to Morecambe, I had to go to the supermarket to get some groceries in, and you just look at things totally different to what you did before. There's no more just picking things up and putting it in the basket for the sake of it. It does focus your mind on what you're picking up and what you're buying.
So you become much more you become much more conscious about getting foods that are actually going to satisfy the gut bacteria that are now living in your abdominal cavity.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's worth adding to that, Dan, is that it's this belief thing, and I suffered a bit from it, and I know many people do. The amount of times people have come to me and said, I've not been able to get my blood pressure down for 18 years, I've not been able to lose any weight for 18 years. Or that was one person in particular, that's why I used 18 years, but they come with those same stories. And I think what's really focused my mind is the fantastic results I've had in just 7 days. And you think, well, this actually works. So if something works, why would you want to do anything different? And that's been a big plus for me in terms of helping how my mindsets work with the whole thing.
Great. Excellent. So of the products that we're talking about, you have the same Purify kit in Europe as what we do over here in the United States. In fact, you guys actually got it before we did.
Yep.
The Biome Shake is certified vegan and gluten-free. I love this shake. This shake includes pea protein. It has the prebiotics inulin to fuel the friendly bacteria. It contains the borage oil that we talked about, the flaxseed powder that we talked about, the zinc that we talked about. Now, I use this as a morning meal. For most people, this is healthier than anything that they're eating, but I can tell you that I used to use the Slim Smart Shake from Synergy Worldwide. I have a base recipe that I used, and when the microbiome program launched and I replaced the Slim Smart Shake with the Biome Shake, that's the only change that I made in my morning shake. 2 scoops of Slim Smart Shake was replaced by 2 scoops of the Biome Shake. What it gave for me is 2 hours of additional time before I even began to get hungry. I used to have my shake, I always have my shake around 7 in the morning. On the Slim Smart, I'd get hungry around 11:30. On the Biome Shake, I go until 1 o'clock, 1:30, sometimes even 2 o'clock before I even start to get hungry. I love this. I'll never go back to the Slim Smart. The Biome DT, over here we call it the Biome DTX. I don't know why they had to add the X to it. But again, it contains a lot of different things like L-glutamine, to help heal that leaky gut and begin to change that balance between the Bacteroidetes and Firmicutes so that you can get more Bacteroidetes in your system. It also has zinc in it and broccoli flower. The Biome Actives, they combine the prebiotic, which is inulin, with the probiotic, Bacillus coagulans. And again, nice thing about the Biome Actives is you can take it any place that you go. It's shelf stable. You don't have to refrigerate it. And because it's a spore, Bacillus coagulans is a spore, that protects it protects itself against the acidic nature of your stomach, so that when it enters the small intestine and the environment is proper, it can quickly colonize, especially with having inulin as a prebiotic, so you can get rapid recolonization of the types of bacteria that are good for your health. Body Prime. Now, you've had Body Prime, I think, for about 2 years over in Europe. Am I correct on that?
That's correct.
So when I saw Body Prime first come out, Campbell, people asked me my opinion on it, and I really didn't have any good opinion about it. I saw Body Prime strictly as a colon cleanser. I personally am not into colon cleansing, but in doing the research for the microbiome, I see Body Prime as key, as an everyday product that a person wants to take because of the magnesium. I cannot tell people how critical this magnesium is. It's going to improve your gut immunity, digestion, regularity, energy production. It fuels hundreds of enzyme processes. This is why the microbiome is so important, because if you didn't have the microbiome, your DNA could not do all these chemical reactions necessary to get energy out of food. You need the microbiome, those bacteria, to do that process. And the magnesium helps them do the enzymatic processes necessary for energy production, plus it is so significant in healing a leaky gut. So I use Body Prime now all the time. I do one in the morning and one in the evening, just like you see in the 14-day plan. And then everyone's familiar with the ProArginine Plus. So do we have any questions on our presentation before I show you a couple other things and we call it an evening?
I don't have any questions at all.
So one of the things that I put together for our group over here in the United States, and I've made this available to Campbell and all the people that are within his group, I still have a few sections of this to update. But we have the 3 E's and the 4 R's to gut health. This is the Purify manual, and I'll be making a change in this where I'll highlight Purify in red and Purify manual in red, because we'll have a manual for Purify, we'll have a manual for Fortify, and we'll have a manual for Protect. Purify is the initial reset program. One of the things that we did is we took the 7-day program that Synergy has, we changed it into a 10 and 14-day program. I'll come to that in just a second. Over in the United States here, in July, they're going to launch the Fortify program. I don't know when it will come to Europe, but they're launching it first in the United States. This is a patented program that has clinical studies to it. They're phenomenal. This program is nothing compares to what this program has done for people. And then Protect would be a monthly type of program to help people choose, like staying on the microbiome or the biome shake and the Biome Actives in the Body Prime, doing that on a monthly basis so that they can continue to protect and build what they've done in resetting their microbiome. And what we've done in this program, and again, this manual goes through the different products, why they're there. We want to educate people, why am I taking this product? What is the purpose for this product, and how is it resetting my microbiome? And then we understand that a 7-day program can be pretty intense for a lot of people. And not everyone can be compliant to that. Or like for myself, I had no desire to do 2 shakes a day. I don't need to lose weight. I'm not looking at it as a weight manager. I just wanted to reset my microbiome. So we created a 10-day program and a 14-day program. And what we do in this is, again, we give the 7-day program. We give it in what they need to lay out on a weekly basis. Some people like that, kind of like putting it in their pill box. Or we gave it as a daily plan. And we did that for a 7-day plan, a 10-day plan, and a 14-day plan. And then as I go through here, we have a set foundation for our biome shake. We want people to look at their biome shake not as something to try and reduce their caloric intake to lose weight. We want them to look at their biome shake as the foundation for resetting their microbiome. So we want them to look at their shake as better than any meal that they're currently consuming. And so let's make it the right way so that every morning when you get up, you look forward to having your shake. So we have a basic recipe, and then in this we'll have some alternative recipes that people can use. And then we have the 3 E's and the 4 R's. So we want to give them the 4 R's. Understand what foods and factors that damage their gut. We have a checklist. We understand that not everyone can do all of these things. So we want people just to commit to 3 of them. What 3 things can you do for the next 7, 10, or 14 days to help in the process of resetting your gut microbiome? And then we have replace with healing food. So we talk about the water, whether it be liquid chlorophyll or some people like lemon water. One of the things that we do not want people to do is do not do alkaline water, because that changes your stomach's pH and your ability to digest foods. And we talk about unsweetened almond milk and fermented foods. And then we begin to give people lists like vegetable proteins and serving sizes and how much protein that looks at like. And we give them other things they can do, other animal proteins that they can bring into their system. We help them understand how to quickly look at a nutritional label and know whether they're consuming too much sugar, because reducing sugar consumption is key to stop fueling those firmicutes and allow your bacteroidetes to flourish. So we have a thing in here to show them how to do that. And then we understand we want to make this as practical as possible. Now, I don't know if you have these products over in Europe, but we certainly have them here in the United States. People can go to Target, which is a major store, or they can go to Costco, and they can find these different products at Costco. We want to be able to help people understand how they can, if they just choose to eliminate wheat products, what can they bring into their system? Because if they're eliminating wheat products, it's usually they're eliminating pasta and they're eliminating some type of bread. So what kind of pastas can they bring back into their lifestyle that allows them to eat pasta, but eat pasta that's not going to fuel their bad bacteria? So we give them choices, as well as we give them some breads that are available, help them understand how to create some protein-rich snacks that they can prepare at home, as well as, if they don't want to do any preparation, places that they can go where they can buy these things online, already prepackaged snacks that they can take with them to work or have at home to take care of the in-between meals when they might be getting hungry, so that they don't, go into their next meal starved and overeat, but rather using protein sources to be able to help them manage that issue. We also understand that people are going to go out to fast food places. So we wanted to give them a list. And again, this is designed for the United States. I don't know if, I'm sure you have KFCs and McDonald's there. I don't know if you have Chick-fil-A's. But we want to be able to help people understand that if they go lunchtime out to eat or dinner time out to eat and they're going to go to a fast food place, here are some good choices based on calories and protein to be able to choose those foods that are going to help continue this process of supporting their microbiome. And I'm in the process right now of putting together a list of items that will help them to do this on a menu basis and make it where they can interchange things. And I've been kind of bogged down in that process, but I think I finally got a handle on it over the last 2 days. And we'll have this finished up most likely sometime tomorrow, Thursday at the latest. Once I finish it, I'll send this to Campbell, and then Campbell, you can distribute it amongst your team. And then I would just adapt it for the European market. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, Anita, I spoke to Ashish on Sunday about some of the food choices in here, and she was quite keen to have a look at that to see where we could source equivalents here in the UK and what we would recommend. So we've got people that are happy to look at that already here in the UK, Dan.
Great, great. And then as I shared with you, this webinar that I did tonight is up on YouTube. Let me get... So you can find it at Our Synergy Family. You can find it at, well, I'll take that back. So the ebook on the microbiome is up on the internet. Everyone has access to this. This is a non-branded version, so it doesn't come back to me. It doesn't come back to anyone in Synergy Worldwide. But you have complete access to this. It's at oursynergyfamily.com/microbiome. And then if you go to, where we're waiting for that to come up, if you go to YouTube, and if you go on to our YouTube channel, things will take a little bit longer when you're on a platform like this.
Yeah.
So you want to go to Our Synergy Family, so you can put in the search bar, Our Synergy Family, O-U-R, Synergy Family. Let me go into my channel. So when you go in there, you'll find a bunch of different videos that we've created. And there is one in particular. Let me go into my video manager. So we've recorded a live microbiome webinar. So you can see it's located right here, Microbiome Research Live Webinar. If you don't want to do this webinar yourself, or understand that you don't want to learn the information, don't. We already have this available to you. You can send the link to someone. You can sit them down in your office and have them watch the video. Let the video do the education for them. Help them understand the need to reset their microbiome. So what we want to do is we want to put into your hands resource tools that, again, will allow you to educate people in the area of microbiome. And when they understand that or when you create the interest in resetting their gut health, well, what products do you use? Well, I use the clinically proven products from Synergy Worldwide, their Purify Kit. This is what it's done for me, and Campbell can share his results. Where if you're not Campbell, you can share Campbell's results, just like I share Homer's results, or I shared Tammy's results. You know, for me, I didn't lose any weight. I wasn't looking to lose weight. But if that person is looking to lose weight, I can share what it did for Campbell, or what it did for Campbell. I can share what it did for Homer. I can share what it did for Tammy. If they're a diabetic, I can share Homer. Yeah, I've got a diabetic who has used microbiome research to reset their gut health. Prior to starting this, his morning blood sugars ran between 150 and 175. He's on 3 medications. Still on those 3 medications, but now that he's reset his microbiome, his morning blood sugars run between 75 and 90. Would that be important to you? So again, it's just learning how to use your tools and resources to create the interest so that you can then begin to help people understand that you have a product that you've used personally that could help them do exactly some of the things that you've helped other people accomplish. Any other questions that anyone would have for me?
I've got one small one, Dan, if I may, and it's just the point you made on the biome actives and the water, and it creates this cell and protects it. How much water would you recommend drinking with a biome active?
Well, with the biome active, I take it with my shake in the morning, so I don't need to add any other water.
Okay.
And then I just take it with after my evening meal, so I usually take it like with about 4 to 6 ounces of water.
That's fine. Okay.
And then I just drink the rest of my liquid chlorophyll through the rest of the evening.
Yeah. I was just asking because it's a capsule, you know, like medication, a lot of people will just take enough water to get it down, and maybe they should take a little bit more. That's why I was asking the question. So
I see.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Dan.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Are these capsules that you've been taking, Campbell, are they in cellulose or are they in a sort of like a biodegradable coating?
Dan?
I don't know the answer to that. I'd have to call Synergy.
Okay, that's okay. I just wanted to know that some people are very good at taking capsules and some people aren't. So I think your question about having enough water is terribly valid, quite honestly, because some people don't take enough water and then they don't get enough benefit from that pill or that, you know. So I just wondered what. Okay, that's cool.
So in the microbiome kit, everything would be either a powder form, or it would be a powder in a capsule.
Perfect. Okay. Very
so
good.
there's no hard tablets.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah. Okay. Because I think with older ladies and older gentlemen, it's really hard to. We've got a lot of vitamins in the UK right now that are all compacted, but without, as I say, a powder. They're really, really hard to take, and a lot of people don't like to take it after a certain age. So that's good. If they're easy dissolvable, that's absolutely terrific. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thanks for that, Julie. I think that one of the last points I would make, and then I'll let you wrap it up, Dan, is that whilst it's great we all want to lose weight, and you know, my personal mission's always been about looking after my heart, because everybody that's on this call knows that I've had triple bypass surgery. But I think one of the great things that the Synergy products do is that they give everybody, no matter what walk of life they're in, hope. And you touched on it with type 2 diabetics, and I know we've had some fantastic results with people who've got type 2 diabetes, where we've managed to get numbers of them either to reduce their medication, if not off their medication. And I'm going to be really looking closely at the impact that the microbiome kit has on type 2 diabetes. It's just fantastic. So it's not all about just looking good and feeling good. It's about actually helping make a difference to people's real health challenges. And you know, that's one of the things that keeps us involved with a company like Nature, Sunshine and Synergy Worldwide. So I only wanted to make that point before I throw it back to you, Dan, and say thanks very much for your time tonight and a very informative presentation as usual. So thank you for that, Dan. I'll hand you back just in case there's any final questions, and let you wrap the webinar up.
Okay. So do we have any final questions before I say goodnight?
Hi Dan, it's Ian.
Yes, Ian.
No, I've no final questions. I just wanted to reinforce what Campbell's just said there. It's an excellent presentation. Last year, I was diagnosed through my GP and had to go to see a nutritionist, and they diagnosed me with candida and leaky gut, and I had to do my own research into my own microbiome and what we had to do. And you know, I had to introduce, this is before microbiomes come along with Synergy. You know, my dietitian, she had me on L-glutamine, magnesium, prebiotics, probiotics, and it made a huge difference to me. I had to cut out, so I went gluten-free, dairy-free, and also sugar-free for about 5 months. And what a difference it made. It was fantastic. Every year I go to Bupa through my company and get tests run. And they couldn't believe the difference inside 12 months. My body mass index, you know, I'm not a big guy anyway, and I keep myself fit and healthy as best I can, but it was really getting me down with this leaky gut. My body mass index went from 26 to 21. Body fat went from 27% to 15%, and my activity levels that they measured through Bupa went from 6 up to 9. And I couldn't believe what I was doing and what a difference it had made to me. And you know, it makes me feel so much better. But I recently took the Synergy microbiome, and it's first class. The whole process. I did lose a bit of weight, and I didn't really need to lose weight, but just my general well-being, working sort of 12, 14, 15 hours a day, it helps so much. So it's enlightening to hear all of this evening through yourself, and to have all this good information at our fingertips. It's first class. So thanks again.
You're welcome. And as I was listening to you share your journey, a lot of the things that they put you on are in the ebook.
Mm.
Yes.
So my suggestion is to make sure that you go, and again, the ebook is at oursynergyfamily.com/microbiome, and many of the things that they had you do, you'll find right in that ebook.
Yeah, that's brilliant. The hardest part was trying to bring it all together and the different products that you really had to take, and to know that it's all here in one place.
Yeah.
And the synergy products have it together, collectively taking it together, which is superb.
Yes, you don't have to piecemeal. You just have one program
Correct.
that Synergy put together. Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else before we go?
No, thanks very much. Great. It's been fascinating listening to you. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Everyone have a blessed evening. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Very enjoyable presentation. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Dan. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Good night, Ian. Good night, Anita. Good night, Julie.